Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com. And today let's talk about your production. I want to give you 3 ways you can improve your production skills right now. Real simple things you can do. Production doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be this big complex thing, but it really is important. What do I mean by production? Well, I mean not just the recording or the sounds necessarily, but the planning and the thought process, including the arrangement of your songs. So you could write a song, you could record a song, but the thing in between is production. And that involves a lot of different things, thinking about the sounds you might use, thinking about the order of things and the tracks and the flow and the arrangement and how it's all going to come together. And that will inform recording day. I think a lot of newer home studio owners and musicians underestimate that as a phase or the importance of it as a phase, or don't even know that it exists. So just be sure that every song you're hearing on the radio or every song that you love from your favorite artist has gone through an intentional production phase. And you don't have to be a full-time producer to do this well. I want to give you 3 simple hacks, 3 simple ways you can start to improve your production skills right now that will help you on just about any song you're working on. Okay, the first thing you should do when you think about productions, or the first thing you can do, is to just get to the hook faster. I know people love long intros. I'm the king of loving long intros. When I was writing songs as a high schooler, in college, in my early 20s, I had these long drawn out intros, amazing builds. It was very cinematic is an overstatement because I wasn't orchestral, but it was thought out as this long, big build. I liked that kind of thing. But you know what? Most people don't. And you know why? It's not that they don't like long intros, it's that they want to hear the meat of the song faster. They want to get into the best part of the song. And can you really blame them if you think about it? Don't you want to hear the best part of a song? Now, I know you're a musician and I know you're super creative and super smart and also super nerdy when it comes to this stuff. So you can appreciate the in depth and intentional introduction and saving the hook as a release for a little bit later. But I'm telling you, friend, that kind of songwriting and production and arrangement style really won't work for most commercially viable music. And I know some of you don't like that word, but I mean music that is palatable to the people you're trying to share it with, your friends, your family, your fans. It doesn't have to be commercial pop or rock or whatever. I'm just saying, if you want your friends to dig what you're doing or your fans to dig what you're doing, get to the best part of your song faster. So if that chorus is amazing, if that hook is amazing, the part that's going to get stuck in their heads, and hopefully you're writing hooks and choruses that get stuck in their heads, if that's the best part, why save it? Get to it faster. Now, there's a lot of ways to get to it faster. Some examples are simply starting with it, and that's the fastest way you can get to it. I know there's some Linkin Park songs. I remember when they were coming out in the early 2000s, the song Crawling. I was thinking about that song the other day. They go right into the chorus, right into the hook. There's like this little teeny build of a sound, and then bam, we're in Crawling in My Skin. It goes right into that thick guitar thing. And they go chorus, verse instead of verse, chorus. That's the fastest way you can get to the hook. But it's not the only way. You could just chop off the intro, start right on your verse 1 so that the singing starts, and just have a short verse. You could have half a verse and then the hook, and then you could have a full verse after and then the hook. You could do an intro and then right into the hook and then do verse after the hook. There's a lot of ways to bake this in. The point is, don't wait a minute and a half. Don't wait 2 minutes. Don't even wait a minute. If you can get to the hook in less than 60 seconds, you have a better chance of hooking the listener, especially if you got a good hook and a good chorus. Give them the good stuff sooner. And think about this in your production phase when you're mapping out your song before you ever record it, because that might change, and it will change how you record the song. Number 2 thing you should do to improve your production skills, and that you can do super easily, is to harness the power of contrast. I talk about contrast a lot. I talked about it a few weeks ago when it relates to vocals, but contrast is simply this. You got 2 things that sound very different and you put them up against each other. It could be different sounds. It could be different volumes and dynamics, quiet to loud. It could be mono to stereo. Anything that's opposite, contrasting, exploit that a bit more, okay? Don't make your song so logical and so smooth. Have moments where it goes from this to this, because what that does is it draws the listener in and it forces them to pay attention. This is something that we need to do. There is so much vying for the attention of your listener, whether it's other music, whether it's something else on their phone while they're listening to your music, or maybe they're listening to your music on YouTube, because that's how a lot of people listen to music, is right here on YouTube. Whatever it is, you need to grab their attention. So you can grab it by having contrast. You can create more excitement by having contrast. For example, you might have a real chill verse and then big, massive chorus. Going back to Linkin Park, right? They would have real chill mini drum beat, singing vocals in the verse, very light, some keyboard parts, and then the choruses would be the screaming or the yelling and the thick distorted guitars. Very different contrast. So it could be arrangement in terms of what's in the song. It could also just be quiet to loud. It could be mono to stereo. So you might have like one main guitar or synth and a vocal up the middle. And then when you get to the chorus, pan everything out wide, add some elements on the edges that weren't there, add the double vocal that's on the left and the right, whatever it is to go from here to this. Make the listener go, whoa, I'm paying attention. That was different. It could be dropping the drums out, bringing them back in. It could be taking the vocal from affected to dry, whatever you want to do to create contrast. Before you're ready to record, when you sit down to do your production and your arrangement, think through, how am I going to use contrast on this song? No right or wrong way to do it, but ask yourself, how am I going to use contrast on this song? And make sure you bake something like that in. And third and final thing you can do to really improve your production skills right now is to do something that I learned from Dave Pensato, which is always add something new, a new sound into your production. Dave always says it's better to sound new than to sound good. And I always struggled with that comment because I was like, no, shouldn't you sound good? And he's not saying don't sound good, but he is saying sounding good or professional is not enough. That's not all a listener cares about. Yes, it has to sound professional for it not to be distracting and for it to hang with the big boys and the big girls. But what gets listeners engaged is hearing something new, something that goes, ooh. Now, you don't have to be completely original. You don't have to be thinking way outside the box. All he means and all I'm suggesting is that you incorporate some new sound onto every single song. It could be a new guitar tone, it could be a new synth patch, it could be a cool blend of delays and distortions and reverbs on your vocal. It doesn't matter what it is, but make it a point to not just record your song and make it sound good, but say, what's going to be that new little sound that I'm going to use on this song? I feel like the hip hop and R&B genres do this better than other genres, where there is some sample or some sound or some background vocal thing that they have put together and mangled and they put in right at the beginning of the song, right at the hook, that you go, oh, what's that? What's that weird sample or that weird sound? And it identifies that song in such a way that you remember it after you hear it for the first time. It doesn't have to be anything crazy out of the box, but it's something sonically unique in that moment to that song that makes your ears perk up. So for some of you, this will come very, very easily. Others of you, this will be harder. You'll have to really sit down and think through, what can I do on this song that sounds new, that sounds a little different? It could be one moment. It can be one sound or one instrument. You don't have to reimagine everything, but just force yourself to come up with one new sound every time you're sitting down to produce and map out the arrangement of your songs. So get to the hook faster, incorporate contrast in every song when you're thinking through your arrangement, and include one new sound, something new sonically on every single song. Those three things will propel your okay song or your good song to something that's much, much more exciting and something that the fans and the audiences will truly grab onto even more. It's an enhancement kind of thing. Take a good song, make it better before you ever record it. Now, if you've enjoyed these production tips, then I got something special for you. I'm teaming up with my good friend and 3-time Grammy-winning engineer, Jakir King, to bring you a one-time online exclusive workshop on how to produce an EP in your home studio on a budget to a professional standard. And it's happening this Monday, November 5th. Again, taught completely by Jakir King. He's going to unpack all of his best tips, tricks, and including the 5-step process he uses to produce bands in the studio and how you can do that in your home studio. Now, if you don't know who Jakir King is, he's the producer behind Kings of Leon's biggest hits, behind James Bay's platinum debut record, and he's produced for artists such as Tom Waits, Norah Jones, Kaleo, Shawn Mendes, Buddy Guy, the list goes on. This is your chance to learn music production right from the perfect source. Jakir King, a 3-time Grammy-winning engineer and producer. And on this one-time exclusive online workshop, Jakir is going to break down his entire process that you can use to produce an amazing sounding EP in your home studio on a budget. He's going to share his best recording tips, his best mixing tips, production tips, everything from top to bottom. He's going to cover in this 3 or 4 hour online workshop. And because it's a live workshop, he's going to be able to answer all your questions on music production, on his process, or just on music in general. That's right. You can show up, learn from him, and ask him questions and get them answered right there on the training. But registration for this live online workshop is only open until November 3rd, this Saturday at midnight Pacific. That's right. We're closing registrations this Saturday, November 3rd at midnight Pacific. So you got to lock in your spot before then. And if for some reason you can't attend the actual live workshop on November 5th, this Monday, don't worry. Once you secure your spot, you're going to get access to the recording. Everyone's going to get access to the recording if they buy their spot and have that material for life inside of a private members area that you can access on any device that gets internet. And you'll even be able to submit your questions ahead of time to Jakir so that he can answer them on the live workshop, even if you can't attend live. So to grab your spot before signups close, go to recordingrevolution.com/JK. I'll put the link below this video. It's right here on the screen, and secure your spot. Now, again, this is a super rare opportunity to be able to sit in your home studio and have access to someone with the pedigree and credibility like Jakir King. Not only is he great at what he does and works with the biggest names in the music industry, but he is a legit stud of a human being, super humble, super approachable, a great teacher, a friend of mine, and someone who's going to be able to unpack 30 plus years of experience and music wisdom with you so that you can really catapult your career or just the sound and quality of the songs that you make in your home studio. Super cool opportunity. I hope you jump on it and join me on this workshop. I can't wait to see you there, and I can't wait to hear how this workshop impacts your music moving forward. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the workshop real soon.